Hello everyone, this is Ketish here. In this video, I'm going to go through the AQA Biology Paper 1 Higher Tier, question number 2 from 2023. This question is on the topic of cell biology, mainly about the structure of the heart and the coronary heart disease and so on. This question is about the circulatory system. Figure 1 shows the human heart. So while we have a really good diagram of the heart, let's label these parts before I move on to the question. So this is the aorta, which is an artery, and this is the pulmonary vein, and A is the left atrium, and B is the left ventricle. On this side, this is the right ventricle, C. And D is the right atrium. Now these valves, which is basically here, and these two, they're called bicuspid and tricuspid valve. You don't really need to know the valves, you could simply call them valves. This is the vena cava, which is a vein, and that is the pulmonary artery. So, and let me quickly draw the path of the in which blood actually flows. So blood actually comes from here, oxygenated blood, from the lungs. Hold on, that arrow is incorrect. So I need to move that over here. So it comes to the atrium first. Now comes to the atrium first, fills up the atrium, and then goes past this valve once it's full. When the first part of the heart beats, fills up the left ventricle, it fills up the left ventricle, and then goes back out of the heart again into the pulmonary artery. Now on the right hand side, blood comes in, so this is to the body. Sorry, that's a bit out of camera. There you go. And it comes on the right hand side. So deoxygenated blood from the body fills up the right atrium, goes past the valves, fills up the right ventricle, goes past these valves and out to lungs. Now you might want to make sure that you make a note of this. And when you are, I'm going to give you just a quick example because I didn't want to make a mistake, and I went and found a similar diagram online so that I can label it. So here's the diagram that I actually found that I thought I could actually help use it. So the labels are correct, but the arrows are definitely wrong, right? So if you were trying to look for it on online, so you can actually label, the blood doesn't come through this side. This part is correct, this part is definitely wrong. So make sure that you don't make the mistake. Definitely look carefully at the source that you're taking the information from. So with all of that, we should be able to answer the next couple of questions. Which part of the heart receives oxygenated blood from the lungs? From the lungs, that would be A, right? So that's A. And which part of the heart pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs? And that's C. A group of cells called the pacemaker cells controls the resting heart rate. Where in the heart is the pacemaker found? And that would be in the right atrium. Now, the pacemaker is found somewhere here. Okay, let me choose a different color, maybe a purple color, somewhere here. Right? It's a group of muscles which produce an electrical charge which actually goes across to the atrium first and then goes through this mid part and then travels through the sides, squeezing the ventricles from the bottom up. Otherwise, if you try to squeeze the heart from the top to the bottom, the blood will actually just pool to the bottom. So you want to get the blood from the top to the atrium to the ventricles. Once that happens, you want it to squeeze from the bottom out so that it can be emptied out, right? And you can see the difference in the thickness of the wall of the heart as well, because the left side has to pump blood to all parts of the body, so blood needs to be at a higher pressure. Figure 2 shows a cross section of an artery and a vein. Very similar, elastic tissue and muscle tissue, but the thickness is different and the size of the hole is different. Describe 2 ways that the structure of an artery is different from the structure of the vein. So in the artery, you have thicker muscle tissue and elastic tissue. Those two will actually give you just the 2 marks. And you could also say the artery has a smaller lumen. The hole is called the lumen. So this part is called the lumen. So any 2 of these bullet points will give you the 2 marks. Arteries have a thicker muscle tissue. Arteries have a thicker elastic tissue. Arteries have a narrow lumen. Arteries do not have valves, and that's something that you're not actually seeing. Veins have valves because there's nothing pushing the blood through the veins, so you want the blood to be returned. So you need blood not to flow back as it comes from your legs to you back up to your heart. In coronary heart disease, the coronary arteries become narrower. A buildup of fatty material can cause a blockage in the coronary artery. Table 2 shows how a blockage in a coronary artery affects blood flow. So percentage of coronary artery that is blocked, as the percentage increases, blood flow decreases, isn't it? So the numbers are inverse. So describe the trend. As the percentage of the coronary artery that is blocked increases, blood flow decreases. Complete figure 3. You are asked to draw a graph. Use a suitable scale for the y-axis, plot the data, draw a line of best fit. So the blood flow, is maximum, is going up to is 80. So you have split it 1, 2, 3, 4, if you go up to 80, or the percentage is going up to 80, sorry, that's already marked, and you need to go up to 100 in terms of the blood flow, so you will need to go. So if I say 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, now that is 0 at the bottom. I'm not marking every 10 because I don't need to have too many numbers. As long as you go up in increments and it's clear, that should be fine. So let's plot these points. At 0 it is 100. So at 0% it's 100 centimeter cube. It's 100. It's slightly bigger than I want, but maybe I can reduce that to smaller. Okay, let's try that. How about the size? Yeah, that's better. So at 10 it's 64. So each box is, if that's 10, each box is 2, isn't it? So at 10 it's going to be 64 for there, and 20 it's going to be 42, and at 50, which is over here, is going to be 8. That's 8, and at 80 is going to be 2. So the trick is to be able to draw a line. Let's see. So it needs to be a smooth curve. Starting from there, you could use a ruler when you're doing it on paper. So it needs to be a smooth curve like that, not dot to dot. So something like that. Let's see if I can do it better. Okay. Okay. Where am I? Sorry. Trying to get, okay. Let's go. No. There you are. That's better. Right. So predict the blood flow in a coronary artery with a 35% blockage. So if it's 35% blockage, it's going to be, let me change the color for that into this, and if it's 35%, it's going to be here. 30 is there, 35% is here, so it's roughly there. So that is, according to my graph, 22 centimeter cube. So blood flow is going to be 22 centimeter cube. Now the marking scheme actually says they do give a range, anything between 18 to 24, based on your graph and or your line. We are in range, which should be okay. So for the 6-mark question, explain the effect of a partially blocked coronary artery on the human body. Now, this is a really good question where it goes into a lot of detail. You have to go into a lot of detail. So you need to think about the answer in series. If the artery is partially blocked, what will happen? First of all, blood flow through that artery is going to be reduced. Now, what is the function of the coronary artery as opposed to any artery? The coronary artery carries blood to the heart muscles particularly. So if the blood flow to the heart muscle cells is reduced, that means less oxygen is going to be delivered. And also less glucose is also going to be delivered. Now the heart muscles work non-stop. They need oxygen, plenty of oxygen and plenty of glucose for it to carry on beating, so that it can carry out aerobic respiration to produce the energy to beat the heart. So if the blood flow is reduced, you're going to reduce the blood flow first of all. If it's blocked, that reduces the oxygen, which also reduces the glucose. That means there's reduced aerobic respiration. That means there is less energy being released. It also means the heart muscles have to go into anaerobic respiration, which doesn't actually release as much energy as the heart needs. So overall, the heart is not going to work as efficiently as it should. That means your heart rate is going to be low. It also means there's less carbon dioxide being removed from your body as well, because it's not pumping enough blood to the lungs, right? That means you're going to feel tired, you're going to be out of breath. And it also means that because of anaerobic respiration, you're going to have a buildup of lactic acid, which causes muscle cramps. And muscle cramps in the heart muscles will lead up to a heart attack. All of that information flows in sequence, so you need to think about the answer before you write it. So here's the answer, right? So reduce blood flow to heart muscle or cells. You can say the heart tissue or the cells, any of them is fine. So less oxygen is delivered to the heart muscle cells, so less glucose to the heart cells, so less aerobic respiration, which also means more anaerobic respiration, and less energy is released overall. So there's less muscle contraction, which means less oxygen blood is moved around the body. Less carbon dioxide is removed from body muscle cells, resulting in breathlessness or shortness of breath, resulting in tiredness. Anaerobic respiration produces lactic acid. Buildup of lactic acid causes muscle fatigue, pain, or chest. Now, do you have to write all of this? Not necessarily. What they're looking for is the overall information. Can you actually write as much of this as possible? So the last part, there are different treatments for a blockage in a coronary artery. Explain how one treatment for a blockage in a coronary artery works. So explain means you need to say what you're going to do and give a reason how it works. There are different ways of doing it. One of the easiest is actually to insert stents. If you don't know what a stent is, you need to look that up. It's like a metal mesh that can be inserted into the artery to keep it open. So insert stents to open the artery. So this is what you're going to do. That carries a mark, and this is why you're doing it. So that carries the second mark. So it's a 2-mark question. So prescribe statins. These are basically drugs. Why? To reduce the blood cholesterol level. You could, in worst cases, heart and lung transplant. Why? To replace a diseased heart with a healthy heart. Use an artificial heart to keep the patient alive while waiting for a transplant. Or you could have an artery or the heart bypass to divert blood around the blockage. That brings us to the end of question number 2, and I will see you in question number 3.